You're doing so many interviews, different radio shows, podcasts, TV stuff all over Europe. Well, all from my house. This is all done by Zoom nowadays.
Yeah.
And I went on this one woman's radio show, and it was only meant to be 20 minutes. And I was on for 3 hours. And then she phoned me 2 days later and said, "Can you do this another 3-hour show?" And I said, "Yeah." And then she phoned me again and said, "Look, can you come on again?" And then out of the blue, she's up and speaking to my partner who owns a radio station. She said, "Want your own show?"
Yeah.
And goes, didn't even think about what I had to do, what the equipment or where I'm
now it's all technical for you.
Yeah, of course I can. Yeah. But at the moment, that's why I've got to go from here. I'm going straight down to her studio in Somerset. So I've got all the equipment at home, but I don't know how to use it.
You'll figure it out.
It's just like this.
You need to swap numbers. You need to swap numbers.
I've got the headphones on. Yeah, but if it, what's that? No idea.
You'll figure out. It
can't be that difficult, can it? It can't be that
But it was let us know when you want to start. But it was funny because when I watched the film, I said, "Well, why isn't he he's an actual presenter here? Why isn't he?" Because it was really good because he was like The Rock and he was sort of,
absolutely keeps it going
throughout the film.
So. Yeah,
well, that's what the reviews we've had said. It's charming. You have to look at it.
I never thought you were charming.
Is this being recorded?
it's all the preamble. Don't worry.
Yeah, let us know when you want to start.
We'll just start.
He's got his charm.
It's been cool because you have to take that piece of art, which is a documented. It's what we wanted it to be, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, to be quite honest, it was just, we basically got the back because we had this record. We had a record coming out, so we done the record deal before the film, really.
Yeah.
And he said, "We'll get all these guys back together and let's see what we can do." We didn't know. I mean, we could. Everybody was having a beer and that and enjoying themselves. So
I think about 25 people, and you have to take your hat off to these people, because it was us thinking that we were the only people that enjoyed that of our lives, and we weren't. They were seeing things the same as us.
Yeah.
We want to come along to this because it's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see them coming with these big beams on some of them were like, we could all see.
I only know a few of them, so I didn't have a clue.
A lot
of
I'm the musician, and he's the director. But to know that there are other people, what I was living and what was great fun for me, all the other kids in the bands were having that same feeling. Because honestly, I was thinking, maybe it's just us. And then I think about 25 people turned up, didn't they? Then after the ones that I'm not going to come to that kind of thing, and they realise, this is an interesting little project.
But when we're getting people like Martin Brett and Spirit of the Beehive, being the big, you're all really big, real big, big bag, and Mark Brabs, who was great, it was the old
without a wall.
Yeah, he came for the Isle of Man.
Right.
Yes, and some of the people there were successful businessmen in their own right because they were out the music industry there. They just turned up because it was a Wednesday off, but because they had that same feeling that we did.
Well, that's what it was. It's what you want to be. It's the daring to dream, but then all of a sudden you go to your day job, you make a life for yourself and everything like that, but you still harp for that. You still pine for that era.
Yes, it was like a reunion. It was like a school reunion. We a couple of them went around school, but it brought tears to my eye when I was watching that just now. And I said to him, "This is good, Mark."
Yeah.
But there's a couple of bits where, like we both said, it's like if you paint something, you paint a picture, you could be here forever trying to be here. You could be re-edited forever.
I'm never satisfied. To do what we can do. But I always. Every time I watch the film, I shouldn't watch the film again because I want to.
The thing is that adds to the punk nature of it as well.
Yes. And we had to do it all because Mark's a film man. You've got to pretty much do it all in that one place because he couldn't spend his whole. It would be 3 years trying to get 40 people or 35 people. Whatever it is.
But we didn't know what we had really. It could have been a disaster. I mean, I had an old second-hand Canon camera, Canon Rebel T1, and the only reason I got that because you could plug the mic in. So I thought, but I got a nice Rode mic. So again, it's really basic blogger stuff.
Once they were going to come, but we were still like, what happens if they don't?
And it might have been a disaster, but we got something out of it. So I think
definitely
did. Yeah.
So just in case anyone's wondering,
right? Okay,
this is Nerdly TV, Nerdly Out Loud. We are still in the Romford Film Festival. We've just watched documentary Are They Hostile, directed by Mark Williams, and Mr. Griffiths was in there as well.
Yes.
Basically holding it all down. First of all, before we get into the documentary and a little bit more about yourself, let's talk a little bit more about yourselves. Filmmaking, Mark, how did you get into this?
Well, I sort of got into filmmaking when I was at school, and I did these little Super 8 epics like these because you only had like 2 minutes on a 50-foot cartridge. Don't want to get too technical. Yeah, you know, we could go in there and film these stuff like Return of the Incredible Melting Man and did a slasher movie as well. You know? And they
still out there, Mark?
No, I've destroyed all copies. We did do a spoof though of Saturday Night Fever, which I had an old punk mate of mine called Hodgson. I can't remember his first name now, but we got him in his brother's white disco suit. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't afford paint. So, you know, the opening title of Saturday Night Fever with Travolta walking down the street, shot of his feet, you know, and he sort of pans up. And we had that, but we only could afford milk. So we had to go down Lower Addiscombe Road High Street with this bucket of milk everywhere. And everybody was pissing themselves with laughter, if I can say that.
And these aren't available.
No, they're totally withdrawn. No, we've actually got a Saturday Night Fever film. And there's a Monty Python skip. They're terrible, really, really terrible. But yeah, and then later on, back into 2014, I met Darren J. Perry, who was he involved with the festival film industry quite a bit, and he sort of makes a lot of his own films. And he said, "Oh, should we do a film on VHS?" So it goes back. Yeah, let's give it a go. And I was more on board to be the sort of co-director, as much direction as you can do, because these guys just do it. It's natural, really, and that's what I like, sort of naturality of it, really, you know, letting the camera roll and things like that. And and I sort of got involved in the technical side of that. But Darren did all the camera work and sound and things like that, you know. Probably did a better job than me. But
and that still exists, does it? It still exists.
Yeah. Oh no, it's just forever. Yeah, you know, and it went on to be. It's a little bit of a culture type thing.
We loved it.
I'm very proud of that. You know,
nerdly loved that. It was a great little piece. Yeah. And yourself, done a little bit of everything, jack of all trades. How did you come into being?
I was a professional musician for 30 years, I think, something like 25, 30 years. And I got out of that because I had a big American record deal. But I've made records since I was 14 years old. Yeah. And, I started a furniture company. Mm-hmm. And then I sold that for quite a lot of money. I retired when I was 38. But then I had a nervous breakdown at the same time. I ended up I had private health. I ended up in the Priory. Thought I was the king of Spain. I know, a bit weird.
I love the story.
I know, I look nothing like a Spaniard. And after I came out of there, I decided, well, this is such a negative thing, so I've got to split up with my wife. I couldn't see my son because who wants that? Who wants their son to think that their dad's a Mediterranean monarch?
That's the worst things to think you are.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I wasn't upsetting anybody. I'm appeasing the son. Anyway, I used that as a positive, and I became a professional comedian for 5 years. And I got out of that, and I started playing drums again, and then that's when he turned up out of the blue.
And we met, you know. So I was doing a David Lean Cinema in Croydon, which was great independent. Give you a bit of plug. And Adrian Winchester was a mutual friend of ours. He said, "Well, can you come and we show in the Slits film, an old sort of girl punk, the original girl band, really, aren't they? You know, the punk scene. And can you come and do the Q&A, share it?" And I said, "Yeah." So we had Tessa Pollitt, one of the Slits there, and the film's director William E. Badgley went on to do a film called Rebel Dread. John Letts.
Yeah. You were like
really good film. And so we did that, and then in the interval, Griff turned up, and I've not seen him.
I saw you at the bar.
40 years there,
you know. You're doing your job, yeah. He was doing that.
Just chatting, interviewing, Q&A.
The master ceremonies kind of thing.
And, thank you. I'll take that.
It's like the referee, aren't you? You're in the middle.
Kind of thing. I didn't tell you what. So Mark was doing that, and he was at the bar. I said, "Oh, Mark Williams," because he came to one of our first ever gigs when he was 14. And when I was 14, we're now both 60. And that was but our paths have crossed, not very often. Right. And I just, in passing over beer, said, "Oh, look, we could do that about the Croydon bands," because he was around at that point in the punk scene. Mm-hmm. So he said, "Yeah." And then COVID hit, and that kind of knocked the whole world sideways for 2 years, didn't it? But then we eventually got around to doing it, and it kind of grew legs because we had no idea we were going to have our own lager. We had no idea we were going to manage to get Ian Damage to do the CD and album out. We had no idea really if the fellas were going to turn up because it was just something that we just said, "Yeah, come on, give it a go, Mark."
That was about 2017, was it? 2017? I think, yeah. Your wife, Kate, your wife was there.
Yeah, one of them.
How many wives have you had? I must ask that.
Why did you?
Yeah, but it's kind of, and it's still, it grew its own little legs. I mean, it's not going to change our lives. It's not that kind of film.
Right.
But it grew its own little legs, and it's still running along there because you know, things like this are happening.
Yeah.
You know, there's other opportunities for him to turn up. The bands that are in there have reformed, and we're starting to do more stuff for. It's just an interesting part of our lives. You know? It's an interesting thing.
But why was there a doubt that people might not turn up? Why, like, if you
Well,
guys...
It's like having a party. It's like when I was 17, you have a party. When you're 21, you have a party. There was always that, what happens if no one comes kind of thing. That was the only reason. It wasn't because they don't like us.
And everybody's been
No,
there,
it was just because,
teenager.
as you guys know, it's such a special time for you. So why would you not imagine that it was such a special time for them?
I didn't realise it was that special for the other people. I knew it was special for me, and after the chatting with Mark, it was special for him. But you can't make it special for other people. You can only put it out there, and like people say, "Yeah, I'm definitely coming. I'm definitely coming. I'm definitely coming." There was people that no one let us down at the last minute. The only thing was that people afterwards realised that this has got a bit of traction.
Yeah.
Not because I'm new to the film world, but Mark said as soon as the camera, people want to be in it.
Yeah.
So, but there's people that say, "Can you come and film me afterwards?" And I said to Mark, "Can you do that?" It doesn't work that way.
I think they thought it was Hollywood coming, you know, Spielberg, and I think when I had my little Canon camera there.
you can't put all of that stuff that we got in the can, as they say in the film world, and then expect to then go off and do the drummer from another band who couldn't make it, and then there's going to be the guitar player who couldn't make it. So we had to put that date down, didn't we, Mark?
But we did have a nucleus of people, probably half a dozen. We probably just stayed in the corner of the pub all day.
Yes,
and
but we didn't realise it was going to. There was 8 or 9 bands there, and then we had a couple of DJs there, a couple of door staff there. Then we had my old drum roadie turned up, and then we had a couple of people that used to be around the punk scene at the same time. It was an afternoon to remember, and we cut it on camera.
So
did
you film the whole thing just in that one afternoon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, no, we actually the stuff from the studio with Peter Fox. We did that a couple of weeks before, so we sort of that was a sort of
and the opening
turn
that was in my parents' house. They were, I go, "My name's Griff." He goes, "Oh." That was filmed my parents' house. But all the interviews, which are the main, as you were calling them, talking heads, that was all done pretty much in. Yeah.
But you know, we wanted people to it's like VHS. Going back to VHS, we wanted people to tell the stories and and try and make it entertaining. And it was all in one take. These guys. It's like VHS. I've been accused of scripting my film to get actors in. No, this is people talking naturally.
If we got one of those takes, we couldn't have. There's that bit where I say Usain Bolt and we're just laughing because it's natural. You couldn't do that a second time.
No.
I suppose a proper actor could. Because that's how they do it, isn't it?
Even then, it wouldn't be natural. So you can
tell there's natural stuff going on there. You can tell that we're all mates and we've all lived that deal together.
Yeah. But it was really funny though because I had all these guys in the pub and they must have been about 30, I think, at the end. All the roadies and everybody else. And I was sort of like, can I have the fanatics over here? Can I have the heroes over here? Can I have the bad actors? I didn't know who was going to turn up. And
as we were telling like the heroes, we talked to the fanatics.
Yeah.
We were losing light, and we weren't going to come back and do it again, were we? Because it had to be. So is that not the norm? So when you see other films along that lines, they're not usually done in one afternoon.
I wouldn't normally imagine so. But you don't tend to see that many people turn up in one space at the same time, really.
No.
They kind of like go around all the different places, but. I guess it's a great way to do it. I like the way you do it actually, but it must be an absolute headache to get everyone where you need them.
Oh yeah. Well, it was a small pub, wasn't it? A small pub garden.
I had to go to the pubs at least 6 times to make sure it was okay. Then the manager wasn't in. The manager was there. He did video for us. So there was a lot of involvement behind the scenes before we all sat down.
Yeah.
I mean, there was lots of calls from you, speak to him, Chris, speak to him.
And we had our own beer. Tell me about the beer as well. That's good. That's a good story.
Well, in the film, before it was even made, I got loads of bottles of beer, put them in hot water, took the labels off, and got my son who's in Munich to design, for example, if it's the heroes, I've got a picture of one of the heroes, and he would stick it on the bottle.
Nice.
So,
I thought you did that yourself. I thought he's a talented man. No, he's very artistic.
I did. My Sam done it, but I stuck them on, and then that was part of the opening scene. That someone said, "Well, why don't you get that?" And I happened to know the bloke from Croydon Brewery, so I just phoned him up and said, "Look, we got this idea." And he said, "Well, come and have a chat with us." So I went down there. We couldn't pay for it. We got no money, no budget. So he said, "Yeah," because he's a mate of mine. I said, "Yeah, we'll do it." And so he created the can really works, doesn't it? So it's got the
We've got a can of beer for. We haven't got any hard beer. We have to share the one with Spencer. I brought Spencer one.
It was my birthday on Saturday, and I bought 26 cases. I think 36 turned out, and I said, "Oh, mate. So I had to buy.
I'll bring him on
He
next
can't do
time.
anything with them. And there's literally, and I can't drink those in case of fire.
Yeah, you can.
Of course you can. He's being modest now.
And I'll come live from my house after 36 cases.
But we didn't really know. It was really funny. There was one shot in there, and I had this old, this Canon Rebel camera. I couldn't get the damn thing to work. So, and the old Griff was sweating it, and it's really good when he does that intro. We got really light at the old courtyard,
you can see the lights fading
outside the pub. Yeah.
But it's like because it's artistic, isn't
And
it? It's like,
that ruined my focus, that fading night as well.
We're both kind of artistic people, and you can, like we said, off the camera here, you forever. We can change that. You can edit that, but when you stop, Mark,
Yeah.
No,
there's some bits that are a bit too long, and some bits that are a bit too short. But did you carry on going?
Again, though, as I said before, that plays into the nature of the story you're telling.
Yeah.
It's very punk. It's very its own thing. So I think it's fine. I don't think you need to change
a lot of the
anything.
younger people have said to us, "Oh, it's great because this is how they didn't realise how the record industry worked back in the day." So it's good that we got that documentary.
One thing we didn't want, because we could have got, we know the Damn Boys, we could have got the Damn Boys much more involved, but then it would have been another film about the well-documented Damned. And there's so many films about that. We want this to be about the unsung heroes of that scene. Because if the Damned were in it, they would overshadow the bad actors. And Case and we was a great band in their own right. We just didn't have that major success the Damned did.
Right.
For obvious reasons, because they were a great band, still are.
Yeah.
But it would have overshadowed the content of the other people in there. So
it would
mention Croydon Punk, then move on to the boys that we know were doing it at the same time.
Because Captain Sensible from the Damned, only saw it a couple of weeks ago, and he loved it. But he said, I would gladly have done the camera, but he said it's not about the Damned. He got that.
So even he gets it. Yeah.
And I thought if he didn't like it, he's Mr. Croydon. Everything. He loves Croydon, and
Yeah, he did. It's a lovely email he sent you.
It was really nice. He called it a lovely film, and I thought that's nice. Isn't it?
That's what he wanted.
It's about his hometown as well.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering if it's going to travel further than sort of South London, but I think it probably will do. If we get a chance to get on a network or something.
But we did well. We did last year at David Lee, back name shopping the David Lee again, and we had 3 sold out shows.
That was 4, wasn't it?
3? No, we did 3. I think 3.
How did
I
you?
went before. Is that how they hostile?
We should do it.
How did you secure the pub for the day?
No, they're the Griff, wasn't it? There was an old connection though, wasn't there, with Peter Fox and the landlady, I think.
The DJ. He knew what I think I might have gone to school with this barmaid, but it was central to Croydon. Surrey Street is a very historic part of Croydon itself. Surrey Street is like the main thoroughfare for everyone who knows about Croydon knows the Surrey Street Market. So we want to use that as the historic, angle. The Dog and Ball has been there since 1700. So he just said, right. So I went down there. We have to ask permission. You can't just turn up like 35-year-old 18
I don't know if you're paying. If you're paying at the bar, I'm sure they'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm sure they would be. But that in itself took a bit of time to sort out. But and we were so lucky with the weather that the sun was out. Was it in October we did it? But the sun was out in the garden. It got a massive beam.
It's great when you've got no lighting. You have to do natural light.
You see these proper films. They've got all those big sort of satellite things that the lights are bouncing off. It's just like everything worked. It all clicked and fell into place. The people turned up. They were all talking about it. The weather was right. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that all fell into place, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it had to be Dog and Ball because I've been in there with Captain Sensible, name dropping again, but of an evening, and he said, "Oh yeah, he used to be the guy from the Pogues there, a bit changed. Kirsty McCall, sadly passed away. All the bands there used to go. And this pub, you wouldn't go in there. It was Spit and Sawdust back in the 70s. It was all the market traders went there. But you wouldn't go in there, most of the time. But of an evening,
there's a bloke at the bar. He was smashing walnuts with his hand.
That was you, wasn't
it? He was a Spit and Sawdust pub.
Yeah, but now it's over £5 a pint.
Anywhere in London, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all getting that way.
Now, where are you from? You're South Shields, isn't it?
South Shields, just a bit further up. I'm from Berwick-upon-Tweed, so like right on the border of England and Scotland, but
you got that lilt, you got that Scottish
Little
lilt
bit,
as
little bit.
well there, you know.
Well, yeah, hoots, man. I'll take that. I'll take that. I've had worse.
That's the border between.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
But
But
I used to work on. I used to friend of mine called Andy Taylor, who's in the Duran Duran boys. He's got the Hollywood. He's got Rio in Hollywood.
All right.
I don't know if it's still there. Is it? Do you know that?
I don't think it is. No.
Oh,
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So it's sitting there today, and obviously this is like a big part of your lives and a fond memory of your lives. Sitting there watching it in the cinema, like what bit stands out to you guys as just being like, oh man.
He's a film director. And I had a tear in my eye, and I said to him, "Well done, Mark," because it made me feel like we've achieved.
Yeah.
And I think Mark was made because he's more technical, and he was more worried that the fact the camera, whatever it is, wasn't going to look so big on the large screen. But it's got the charm there.
Just about get away with it, I think. You know,
there wasn't a billion people in today, but we sat next to each other, and I was really pleased.
Yeah,
it's watching the banter. I think this is the thing, and letting I like the camera to just sit back and then capture these guys chatting. And there's some great bits. You and Andy Deere with the Martin Brett interview. And the Marines. It's the banter there. They really play off. It was just all one take.
Yeah,
I'm laughing. I'm laughing now at what we were laughing on the street. So
it was good, and everybody got on. Because you don't know, do you? There might be some unresolved.
There were a couple of people that didn't turn up. A couple of the boys had passed away. Some of them were 60 plus.
We didn't get the squadron, Lino. I was a bit upset. He couldn't find the pub, could he?
Navigator. But he's so disappointed that he couldn't make it because I think he delivers planes. That's what I think he does. He delivers planes. So you guys are, I'm just going to deliver this to Acapulco. I'll be an hour.
It's funny, like the little town Croydon, lots of talent, and these guys, they're probably getting 25 quid a night. They weren't even getting paid a lot of the time.
We knew each other. Maybe not because I was the musician at the firm, but we knew each other really well back then. Because even now to this day, I'm playing drums with these people. He's playing guitar for those people. It's all still.
But you'll find there's sort of a lot of common ground. Because probably find everybody went to see the Dam when they played the Greyhound, or when they were doomed. And again, you had Shane McGowan's band, the Nips supporting, and Johnny Moped was supposed to support, but he didn't turn up.
And it was there was probably 40, maybe 35 venues that you could play. Every pub had a band on. I mean, I was saying to them, maybe yourself and one of the guys earlier, back in Croydon, there was probably 8 or 9 shops just selling musical instruments.
Yeah.
That shows you the amount of people that were buying stuff. Yeah. And as I said on the stage back there, where does a young guy now learning his drum kit? I would go down to Rock Bottom in Croydon, and there'd be another 10 drummers all playing, and you'd learn, you'd talk, and that's how bands were formed in those places. Where's that social interaction when you're buying your first instrument?
It's not there anymore.
It ain't going to happen, is it?
No,
and I feel quite sorry for those. But technology's moved on, man. You can make a record on your phone now. Things are so different. But where do they play? A
lot of them don't anymore.
Even like DJs, they don't put a record on anymore, do they? It's press a button.
It's a bit depressing.
I played by all the other way.
In fact, when Are They Hostile came out, the vinyl, it's a thing of beauty, isn't it? You can smell it. We even wanted the inner sleeve notes to be like when you go up buy a record on a Saturday, you read all the notes on the back of a bus. We wanted it to be like that, so we got all the different bands that said
different.
All their information. I mean, some of them went a bit to town. I mean, I think Mark, what's his name, Dave from the Scratch. He written a book, but you have to try and get that down because it's it has to be.
It's got to be a little blurb.
Yeah, it's blurb.
Yeah, but I think when bands stuff like the Style Council, they had the Cappuccino Kid, which was Paul Weller, wasn't it? I think writing under an alias, and they started up doing that nice. Then all of a sudden, it was rushed to get the records out, and they sort of lost interest,
Yeah, I like the idea of reading those sleeve notes. It is a picture of me.
I loved it. They were quite stylish, on there. And I think ABC did it as well. Martin Fry's a little bit. Yeah, but I think when they started selling more, everything went by the wayside. It's a bit of a shame, really.
When people see this documentary, this labour of love for you guys that you've put up on the screen, what do you want people to walk out of cinemas, or when they watch it at home? What do you want them to be thinking when it's finished?
I don't know. I think I don't know. No one's ever asked us that question. Actually, no one's ever asked us any questions. Go on. You go.
I think for me, a documentary, I want people to be entertained. I don't want to be too, waffling on too much with people, too much talking. Unfortunately, it's unavoidable when you do this type of documentary. But, and also be, informed as well, or educated even. It's a bit stronger word. But, if they come and went, I didn't know that. And a lot of people have, because I think one of the wives said at one of the screenings last year, she said, I never knew, such and such did that, or did that, all the hard work they put in, and it was all rehearsals.
I think my wife, she didn't realise I was on the Hitman and her until she saw them.
No. You kept that quiet though, didn't you? You kept that quiet, didn't you?
I'd like people to come away being entertained. And I think when they see that last bit at the end, we're all laughing. And you can hear the audience, we can hear the people laughing today. That's what I wanted. I think that comes from my background of being a comedian as well. But you've got to be entertained by it, haven't you? But like we said just now, I don't know if it was off on camera or on camera, that you can always, if someone said we're going to put it onto a network, can you cut those interviews down a bit? We would consider that, wouldn't we?
Well, yeah, to a certain degree, but I think you've got to look at the integrity of the documentary, really.
Exactly.
As long as it doesn't do that.
I'll just leave it as is, please.
I'm always doing it. I'll always go back.
I'm saying that because he don't want to do it.
Well, then I leave it up to the,
Did you see what he said? Well, I said, we do that. We went,
He's like, you're ruining my integrity here.
No, I'm not doing it.
So we're going to wrap out in a second, but first of all, for yourself, what's next? What are we moving on to next?
Well, I've got my next film, which I announced earlier on, we're going to do a film about the Brighton punk scene. So from 1978 to 1980, it'd be called
Is that something you could do? Many different scenes around the country, like you could have like a little shared universe.
You could, but
you could move up to the Derby scene or the Sheffield scene. But how would you'd have to find someone there who's like the Griff character in Derby.
We have, yeah.
You wouldn't want to put an advert in the paper, so that would be a thing, wouldn't it? How do you find those people?
Oh no, because I'm doing it in conjunction with this guy who owns a record shop in Worthing, Trainer Fault Records. He's got all the context, we've got all these guys, his characters like Bill and the people in the test tube babies and the Pran and things. We might even get Pete Waterman on there as well.
Wow!
You never know, do you? Really, But it'll be, I want to sort of move away a little bit from talking heads, so we're going to do a lot of location work and things like that. So it'll be a little bit different.
Its own challenges,
it might, yeah. Oh, they all are. They got traffic.
So you're using our project to learn from it.
That's it. Yeah, I'll make sure you got a cameo, Griff.
He's cameo.
He's played Brighton anyway, haven't you? Yeah, so it's good, and there'll be lots of sort of flyers and memorabilia used as backdrops and things. So
that's great. That's great idea.
And yourself, got a book out?
Yeah, I'm working on a second book at the minute. I'm working on that at the moment. My first book's I Was the King of Spain. That's come out all over Europe and doing very well in North America. I can't believe it myself, but there we go. And I'm working on my second book, and I've got I'm in lots of a band called Circus 79, which is like a punk covers band, which is my passion. And I'm in a jam tribute band, which again is my passion. We probably gig twice, maybe 5 times a month. And for that gig, I am Rick Buckler, who is the jam. I am Rick Buckler. Whatever you say, I know I'm a little bit fat, but I am Rick Buckler for that moment of time.
That's good.
Yeah, but my second book, which is I didn't realise my first book would be so well received. But the publishers, look, you've got to write another one. So I'm looking forward to that. But it's just finding the time to sit down. You've got all the stories in your head, but it's getting that to put it down there. You can't just take it out and it appears. You've got to write that.
It's very entertaining, these stories.
What was your first book about? So I've not read it, obviously, but I'll definitely check it out. I'll definitely check it out.
It's basically it's a whole list of anecdotes. Okay. Now, what happened was someone said to me, "Who's the most famous person you played chess with?" And when I was in the Priory, I played chess with a fellow who was God. So I said, I played chess with God. And then one thing that so you got any more stories? Like I went out when I was working in LA. I went out and run a keep with old coconuts. I've had a fight with Rick Astley. I was caught in a drug deal with Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin.
Nice.
I got hit by the same car twice. I thought I was the king of Spain. Boris Becker ran my wife over.
He's a very entertaining. You think you can't believe it.
In fact, when I went down to see you, do you remember I came down the podcast and we had
I saw the proof.
Just the proof. They didn't have a public deal. I said, there you go. That was how. There's a lot happened in the, especially in the last 3 years. But so I was the king of Spain. Yes, and even though I've got so many good reviews, you wouldn't believe it.
I imagine.
You know, because it's, and I've been doing all this radio interviews and stuff, and since I've done the radio interviews, I never did my own radio show.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't know. It's like when I was a professional musician back in the day, you don't know what's around the corner, and there wasn't Zoom then. Exactly. Like that. So if it was 1986 and you were doing a French TV show, you'd be in a limo, you'd be on a plane, you're over there. There you got Holland, there you go. But that was how it was. But now, I mean, we done one when there was that interview we did with Punkified with Chris.
Oh yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Day, and I did have a shirt on because I didn't realise. I didn't have a shirt on, and I didn't realise that. The Zoom thing, you can actually fucking see it.
I was so relieved when he had his swimming trunks on, you know.
He did put a shirt on with it.
You know, just like him to do it in the nude or something on there. He could have been up all night having a few lagers and then.
I will let you have a book. I will let you have a book today. And
absolutely.
Even though I say it myself, I wanted to be. I read factual books about the war, so that's all about. I like regiment rank, times, dates. That's my passion. Yeah. But when I like reading books like Edward Lear, so I can just pick it up, put it back down. Yeah. The opening paragraph is: think of this book as an incredible swimming pool in the sun. You can dive into it whenever you want. And I've achieved that because you can pick it up. If one page was say, you know, like I was working in a studio, I was bitten by Frank Sinatra's son's dog.
Okay.
But you did it your way, though, didn't you?
Yeah! Well done. I see what you did there.
Yeah, and I saved the life of one of the rappers, Salt and Pepper. I go, this is all true. It's all in my book. You can't. There's stuff in there that you can't make up.
I think if you didn't know, you were back there. You know, these names will come up there. You're probably mystifying the younger audience.
Yeah, get on your Google machines.
Yes.
But guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For bringing
Lovely
the film
to
us.
No, thank you for inviting us for the thing, man. Well done, Mark.
No, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. You've done a great job. I loved VHS Forever, as you know. I've already spoken to you about it before, and nerdly loved that. So, and then Are They Hostile is another one. Like I really like the style of this one as well. So it's exactly the way it should be for the subject you're talking about.
Thank you very much. Oh, that's very kind of you. And it's always going to have a bit of VHS Forever, but it's it's nice to go because I love music. So get into it.
Without him, so but it's like we were voted number 3. Can you take over who said this? Bless you.
Viva la Rock.
Yeah, Viva la Rock. Bless you. We were voted number 3, third best film of 2022. Bowie beat us, and the re-release of the Clash film. And then there was us. Then when he phoned me, he said, "Get this, I've got the magazine." I couldn't believe what. I had to look at it 5 or 6 times. Is that really us? Because I'm
happy with that.
You should be. You should be absolutely happy.
But it's just such a little film, and probably just by accident that we got something that we could edit. And
not by accident.
You wouldn't want to see the 9-10 hour director's cut. We had to cut some of the gags, and that's the most painful thing. There's some really funny. There's some really funny, going on.
Well, where did we take this from now, then, Mark? I think we got the South End Film Festival, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're going to South End. These guys, know there.
We want to
get another festival in London, I think, coming up.
We're at the David Lee Cinema. I'll be Croydon Heritage League. I'd like to try and get it onto the telly. Yeah. But it's a
that'll be next year, hopefully. It's still got that life. We're still, it's like 3 years. It's a slow process, isn't it? Any indie film.
Do you know how to get it on telly? I don't know how to get it on telly.
If people still checking out, then absolutely just keep that train going just now. Yeah. And then drop it when it's ready.
Yeah. That's the thing, absolutely, isn't it, really? And, again, we can always make little lips and tucks along the way, He's got my mind's going down there,
But watching that today, I honestly had a tear in my eye, and I said to him, this is good. I'm like, not because it's us, look like we're on telly, it was just, look at this, we've achieved something out of what was a little idea. We've achieved, it's not a Sylvester Stallone blockbuster, but we've achieved what we, and it certainly makes me happy.
Oh yeah, just a quick one. I mean, the first person I showed it to was, Daryl Buxton. You probably know, don't you? He's quite well known on the festival, the indie circuit.
The name rings a bell.
He's up in Derby, so he does lots of stuff up there, Was it the Quad or something like that, isn't it?
His name does ring a bell,
but he showed the cut and he loved it, and he did. Remember, he did this big essay, but I think one of the things he said that Griff's got this rat-a-tat Jules Holland style, and I think, that's perfect, isn't it? He thought I wrote it. He said he wrote that. I said, no. Honestly, this is the guy up in Derby. But he loves anything really obscure, indie punk. So bad. It didn't hurt. He even got a bad act to single.
We captured somewhere. We
Captured
something in that, and I think it comes out of the fact that you know the people, we know the people. It just captures something.
It all works hand in hand. That's
you can't fake passion. Is what it is. You can't fake it. So,
like we were saying, like some of those women laughing hysterically over something that had happened or a story that someone was telling us. You just remember. You can't. If Marcus said, "Can we just do that again?" You can't. No. We're not actors.
No. And it's so hard to go back and cut, but you've got to do it to make it more palatable for the.
Can you imagine trying to say that? Can you do that to Usain Bolt joke again? It wouldn't happen, would it?
No.
Everybody's there. I've heard it.
I'll never forget those two boys for laughing immediately. So I beat with the running mates. No, unison.
Right,
anyway,
right.
For that, mate.
So thank you so much for doing this.
No,
thanks for bringing the documentary to us, and thanks for letting us show it and being here. So.
South London, the late 70s. A very different place to the Croydon of today.
We did a lot of gigs, we did go off to our jobs in the daytime. I'd have a photocopying machine because I was a messenger boy in Soho. And I'd get the A4 and we do all the artwork, and then because it's free on the franking machine, I just send out all these letters for the gigs. And we play in the places like the Star, the 101 Club. 101.
The Wolverhampton dog track with Slade and Diamond Head heading the bill, with Case on the bottom of the bill. And Barry had made some egg sandwiches, which Rob will never forget, on the little bus that we had on the way up there. Really did do the job, the egg sandwiches.
If this is a yes or no question, yes or no answer. If we had Usain Bolt and we gaffer taped Ronnie Corbett to one of his legs, and one of the 7 dwarfs to the other one of his legs, could I beat him in a running race?
No.
There's no debate about that, then.
I can't believe it now. I'm so afraid.